When we forget that relationship with Krishna and we try to join independently, what happens is we try to experience pleasure in our relationship with another person, another living entity. But then our relationship with other entities are not designed, or they are not made in such a way that we can enjoy happiness by relating with that person. You see, just like if when I see that a tree has to be nourished, I may try injecting various kinds of nourishing fluids into the leaves, into the twigs and all that. I may get some temporary result, but ultimately, if the twigs and the leaves have to, in a sustained way, if they have to be nourished, the only way is to have to give nourishment to the root. In a similar way, the way I am designed is that the way my experience of pleasure is designed is such a way that when Krishna becomes pleased, when I give pleasure to Krishna, I'll become pleased. Now, independently, I can try that I develop a relationship with some other person, because ultimately pleasure lies in relationships. I may try to experience pleasure in some other living entity. There, what happens is, in my relationship with another living entity, I will try to enjoy that relationship with another person in various ways. What I will do, I will carry out various activities in that relationship in such a way that I will become pleased. But then what happens? That doesn't work, because if I try to enjoy in a relationship, in my relationship with you, and try to do things in such a way that in my relationship with you, I should enjoy fully, that is called exploitation. It becomes exploitation. If I have to enjoy in my relationship with you, first of all, you have to agree that yes, I will do some, suppose I say, see, you are such a good cook, and you are my dear friend, so I want to enjoy eating something, so you please make for me and give me. Now, I cannot force you. You have to agree. If I force you and show a gun at you and you had better make and give it to me, then what happens? It becomes exploitation. Now, if it does not have to be exploitation, I have to request you and you have to agree. Now, you will also agree only if you get some enjoyment in return. You are not going to do it for free. You will tell, okay, I will do for you, but how much money will you pay me? That is what happens when you go to a restaurant. But you go to a restaurant because you want to enjoy eating some good food. And you know that in a restaurant, a guy is there, he's called a chef or a cook, who knows how to cook well. So if I go there and I eat his food, then I'll become happy. But then he will not do it for free. I have to pay him some money. I have to remunerate him in some way. Then he will cook for me. If I simply go to a restaurant and eat and don't pay, then what happens? I'll become a criminal. I'll become an exploiter. This is the way this material world looks at relationships. Enjoyment in relationships. Enjoyment in relationships in this material world, there always has to be some give, and then you can take. If there is only taking, then it becomes either criminal or it becomes exploitation. Now, in our relationship with Krishna, we are supposed to only give. We are supposed to only give pleasure to Krishna. We are not supposed to expect something from him. We are not supposed to ask Krishna, give me this, give me that. No, we are supposed to be akinchana, no desire for myself. I should only please Krishna. But then when we look at this, when we hear this, we tend to think the common people, when they don't understand the philosophy behind this, they think why God should be given such a opulent worship. Why should we build such a big temple for Krishna? It is such a waste of money. Instead of that, we should feed some poor people. Why should we offer such expensive ornaments to the Lord? Instead of that, we should sell it in the market and then build some hospital for poor people. Why should temples have money? Why should we worship the Lord in such a nice way? Why should we do abhishek for the Lord? So much milk is going waste. Instead of that, we can distribute it free in the slums. So all these kind of questions come up because people don't understand they try to evaluate the relationship of a living entity with Krishna in the same way as we relate with other living entities in this material world. They fail to understand that the way our relationship with other living entities is designed is completely different. It cannot be compared to the way a living entity is connected with Krishna. In our material relationships, in our relationships with other living entities, there is no such design where by pleasing you alone, I can also experience happiness. We can understand this phenomenon of how this relationship with Krishna works, where by only giving enjoyment to Krishna, we become satisfied. How this phenomenon can work, we can get a glimpse of it in the relationship between a mother and a child. That is the closest that comes to a relationship where a devotee experiences with Krishna. When a mother takes care of a child, the relationship between a mother and child is the most selfless. It is not completely selfless. The mother is also taking care of the child because of her bodily relation with him, and also because there is some expectation that when the child grows up, the child will take care of the mother, the child will express love towards the mother. If the mother knows that the child is going to grow up and he is going to reject me and go away, the mother will also lose interest in taking care of the child. She will also not feel so much happiness. That means there is some self-centered calculation even in the case of a mother with a child. But then, amongst all the relationships in this material world, the mother's relationship with the child is the most selfless. That when the mother takes care of the child, especially when the child is an infant, the mother feels so much happiness. The child is only taking service from the mother. The child is not serving the mother in any way, but the mother feels happiness in taking care of the child, in feeding, in nourishing the child, in putting the child to sleep, making the child bathe, and taking all this kind of taking care of the child in various ways. The mother feels a certain kind of happiness. But like I said, the mother's calculation is that in the future the child will grow up and the child will serve me and I'll have happiness in that relationship. That expectation is there. If you tell the mother that as soon as the child is grown up to 5 years old, the child will be taken away from you, the mother will feel so unhappy. Oh, this is the kind of arrangement. And if every child, this is the arrangement with every child and mother, then no mother will be so loving towards her child. Anyway, child is it's not just like if you bring if you bring a new child to a woman and tell you take care of the child, just like it happens with teachers. The child is studying under the teacher for a certain period of time. So the teacher is also not so loving towards that child as towards her own child, because she knows this relationship with this child is for a short period of time. After that, the child is going to go. So the teacher is not so loving towards the others' children as much as she is towards her own children. Why? Because that relationship is temporary. Now, so so if the mother, because the mother is expecting that this child is mine and the child is going to stay with me, the child is going to grow up, and then the child is going to serve me also, and then I have some expectations from the child will fulfill all those expectations. So with that view in mind, the mother is also expressing a lot of love for the child. That is why the mother's relationship with the child is selfless to some extent. It is the most selfless relationship in this material world, and therefore we can understand some bit of how a devotee experiences enjoyment in relationship with Krishna by looking at the relationship between a mother and a child. In a similar way, when we completely selflessly, without any expectation, without any desire for our own enjoyment, we serve Krishna, it is the nature of our relationship, the design of our relationship with Krishna is such that we also experience happiness. Although a devotee never desires for that. Just like the gopis never desire to become happy by seeing Krishna. Their only desire is, I want to see Krishna happy. When he sees my face, he becomes happy. So let me go in front of him nicely, decorate myself and go in front of him so that he can feel happy. And when Krishna becomes happy, the gopis automatically feel greater happiness than Krishna. This is the way the relationship between the Jiva and Krishna is designed.